Varicose veins, spider veins, leg pain, cramps, swollen legs, difficulty standing for a long period of time, or ulcers in the legs, do not delay your visit to USA Vein Clinics. If not treated, the symptoms may become more severe. USA Vein Clinics is a leader in non-surgical vein care. The treatment only takes 15 minutes, and you can resume normal activity on the same day. The best part is that the treatment is covered by most insurance plans, including Medicare. Take control of your life again and go back to the things you enjoy most. Call now at 718-551-9491. 718-551-9491. USA Vein Clinics is here for you.
Time and Temperature is brought to you by Raymour & Flanigan. Surround yourself with what you love.
Good Tuesday, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Morgan Radford.
And I'm Savannah Sellers, in for Vicki Wynn. NBC News Daily starts right now.
Tuesday, July 11th, state of emergency. The National Weather Service says that parts of Vermont are seeing over 9 inches of rain, fueling flash floods across that state. Well, now the capital city has been shut down as officials really work to rescue people from raging rivers.
On the run, search teams are scattered along the Pennsylvania border looking for an inmate who allegedly escaped by tying bed sheets together to make a rope. Why authorities believe he could be getting help.
On par, PGA Tour executives are fielding questions about their planned merger with Saudi-backed Live Golf. How they're responding to claims that the deal is an attempt for a repressive regime to buy influence right here in the United States.
Under the influence, states are passing laws to hold drunk drivers accountable in accidents where a parent is killed. We'll break down the pioneering legislation and how to talk to your teen about safe practices behind the wheel.
We are so glad you could join us this Tuesday, and welcome to NBC News Daily. We start in the Northeast, where deadly flash flooding has devastated parts of New York State as well as Vermont. In fact, communities are still battling the floods that have destroyed homes and towns in just the past 2 days.
Today, President Biden approved an emergency declaration for Vermont as the historic flooding continues to rise and local officials fight to avoid unprecedented damage. Plus, New York Governor Kathy Hochul is calling the storm a once-in-a-1,000-year weather event for her state. NBC News correspondent George Solis is in Highland Falls, New York, where the one fatality from the flooding so far has taken place. Hi, George. Thanks for joining us. So what's the latest we've heard from the governor about the damages in some of these New York counties, and how are people where you are dealing with this as they try to pick up the pieces?
Yeah, we'll start with the governor declaring states of emergency for multiple counties after this devastating flash flooding. You can see this babbling brook behind me. It is still raging, indicative of how much water fell in this region. People today literally picking up the pieces. There are still basements that are flooding. Moments ago, I spoke with the father of that one victim here in Highland Falls. She actually lives in Fort Montgomery. Ed Nugent opening his doors to me and just saying how difficult it was to watch his daughter leave the house, trying to get to higher elevation when the current just took her. Just a heartbreaking story. He said this is the reminder to make sure people remember that when they see these waters to absolutely not go in. He was able to get to her fiance, who was trying to move the car, from what he tells me, and fortunately he was able to save her fiance, but unfortunately Pamela Nugent was not able to cross over because she feared that water was going to impact her home. So she got her dog. They went trying to cross the street, and unfortunately it was just too late. It was a very emotional, heartbreaking interview. We'll hopefully have a little bit more of that later today. But again, guys, here the cleanup, it is just beginning for so many residents in the Northeast and in Highland Falls.
Yeah, George, you talk about the cleanup. We know that earlier today, President Biden issued a federal state of emergency for Vermont. And of course, that state has experienced pretty significant rain, significant flooding. What can you tell us about the conditions and really what's being done at this point to just remove those massive amounts of water?
Yeah, fortunately at this hour, the water is starting to recede, but all state offices in the state are closed right now because obviously they are dealing with catastrophic flooding right now. Some reporting from my colleague Kristen Dahlgren out there. The Winooski River at 21 feet. They are at major flood stage. Over 50 people rescue right now. So you can imagine for them, they are still just in the very early stages of assessing this damage. There's concerns about a dam there in the state capitol. So they are just literally about to experience this as the people here did as this water starts to recede. But we were still learning a lot more about the rescues that are unfolding. No word of fatalities at this time, and we're still waiting updates from city officials about some of the hardest hit areas, guys.
All right, NBC News correspondent George Solis for us live on the ground. George, thank you.
Thank you. Well, as the rain starts to clear out, heat continues to scorch the west. Let's now get to NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Hey, Bill. So parts of the south and southwest still seem to be experiencing this dangerous heat and no end in sight. We've been seeing this for days and days, some over triple digits. Where are we seeing the worst of this?
I think South Florida right now, later in this week, I think the Southwest will be setting some near close to all-time records. And the problem with these heat waves, July, this is as we get to the peak heat season. Third week of July, fourth week of July is typically when most areas hit their hottest temperatures of the year on average. So if you're above average this time of year, you're close to all-time records. Already at this hour, it's 94 in Miami. We're at 90 in Del Rio. Phoenix is at 96. So there's not a lot of relief in the morning. Temperatures are soaring already. And as we go throughout the afternoon, that's when we get to the danger zone. Areas from Dallas to Houston, including the desert Southwest. That's another spot that we're going to be watching the extreme heat. That is where we have excessive heat warnings that are up for days. And look at Phoenix as we go through 110 today, 111 Wednesday, 114 on Thursday. We've been 110 plus in Phoenix now for over 10 straight days, and we're likely going to break the all-time record of 18 in a row. And we're going to watch Vegas closely this upcoming weekend. The forecast is 115. All-time hottest in Vegas is 117 degrees. And how about Miami? Yesterday was 110 to heat index. Today's going to be similar to that. Yesterday, Fort Lauderdale had the hottest heat index. That's a combination of the temperature and humidity and the shade. It felt like 112. It's never been recorded hotter than that in Fort Lauderdale. And Miami, by the way, has had 30-plus days of 100-plus. You're not going to get a break in South Florida. And the reason we're seeing all these problems is the water is so warm. It's ridiculously warm. We have water temperatures that are 92 to 97 degrees in the Keys. Talk about not refreshing. That's like jumping in a hot tub. And that's the reason why South Florida is so hot and also so humid.
All right, NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns, thank you so much.
Meanwhile, the manhunt for an escaped accused murderer who broke out of jail is intensifying today as investigators expand their search. Police say Michael Burham escaped using bed sheets and a rope and that he may actually be receiving help from someone.
Investigators believe he is hiding in a wooded area near the Pennsylvania-New York border as more than 15 law enforcement agencies and 150 officers hunt for him. NBC News correspondent Ron Allen joins us now from Warren, Pennsylvania, where Burham escaped jail. Hey, Ron, so what do we know at this point? Where does this manhunt stand? Are police any closer to finding him?
We honestly don't know, and we're getting a briefing hopefully around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Police are being very discreet and very guarded with any details about where they're searching, whether there have been sightings, what exactly is going on, because they're very leery of providing the suspect any information that might help him. They know or they believe that he's been getting some help. He's from this community. He knows the area. They found what they described as small stockpiles of supplies and campsites that they believe are associated with him over the past couple of days. But at this point, we really don't know a lot of details. We are talking about a vast area that he could be in. We are in a town that is very close to a state forest that is hundreds of thousands of acres deep. So that gives you some sense of the magnitude of the area that is very close by here. And again, authorities are being very tight-lipped about what they're seeing, what they're not seeing. They are hoping that the public will keep calling in tips from the public, seeing something out of place, reporting vandalism, a break-in, a car, a home, a barn. Something like that is often, experts say, what helps police break these cases and find these suspects.
Speaking of finding that suspect, Ron, I mean, this is now the second time this man has been the subject of a manhunt. So does that sort of give us any clues in terms of how he might survive, where he might be headed, especially since we're told he's sort of a survivalist and now in a rural wooded area?
Well, the authorities have said that they are concerned about that he has some experience dealing with manhunts. This dates back to a time when he was going to be charged, we believe, with murder and rape in a case. He kidnapped an elderly couple and fled with them to South Carolina. That was a 13-day manhunt. Police found him there, brought him back here to this jail, which is where he was when he escaped, awaiting hearings and process in cases and charges dealing with those cases. So that's what started this whole thing, essentially. So yes, it is a factor. He is a survivalist, police say. He has military training. And yes, they are concerned that that could give him an edge in the great outdoors. But again, authorities keep insisting, for reasons that they won't detail, that they believe that they're going to get him.
All right, NBC News correspondent Ron Allen there on the ground for us in Pennsylvania. Ron, thank you.
Now it's time for our CNBC Money Minute, and it might be Prime Day at Amazon. I'm sure you know that, but it's getting more expensive to get your shopping delivered when it's from other retailers. That's because in order to get free shipping, the amount you have to spend has increased now to $64 on average, according to retail tech provider Narvar. I know, right?
No bueno. CNBC correspondent Contessa Brewer joins us now. Contessa, back in 2019, to get orders shipped for free, it was just $52. Yeah, so why are retailers now sort of raising the bar? What does that mean for buyers?
Well, you know, for one thing, the retailers are having to adjust to lower profit margins and higher shipping costs as consumers even slow their online spending. So right now, merchants are spending about 10% of the sale on home delivery costs, according to shipping service provider Shippo. 62% of consumers only shop from merchants with free shipping, but merchants are anticipating that consumers will keep spending to reach this new order minimum. By the way, Microsoft is set to cut almost 300 more jobs on top of the 10,000 it's already shed this year to further streamline the business. A federal judge denied today the Federal Trade Commission's motion for a preliminary injunction to stop Microsoft from buying video game publisher Activision Blizzard for $68 billion. So we'll expect to see more deal news on that front. And international workers rank Mexico as the top destination for expats. According to the Expat Insider Report, about 90% of people are happy with their lives abroad, saying the locals are friendly and housing is affordable. The top 10 destinations all rank high in friendliness, in work-life balance, and ease of settling in. I won't lie, ladies, I actually had a little wanderlust myself. I was thinking,
Totally.
What would it be like to live in Singapore?
I'm telling you, Singapore is super nice, but also Mexico, Malaysia, incredibly nice culture. I mean, that was a good list.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So people want to live and work there.
CNBC correspondent Contessa Brewer for us. Contessa, thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up, new details emerging from NATO leaders in Lithuania, what their decisions mean for the war in Ukraine, and why Turkey is finally clearing the path for Sweden. You're watching NBC News Daily.
When you have chronic kidney disease, there are places you'd like to be, like here and here. Not so much here. If you have chronic kidney disease, Farxiga can help you keep living life. Farxiga. And Farxiga reduces the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis.
Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections in women and men, and low blood sugar. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may lead to death. A rare, life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
Farxiga can help you keep living life. Ask your doctor for Farxiga for chronic kidney disease. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Farxiga.
Trelegy for COPD.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel.
You don't have to take COPD sitting down.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day.
It's time to make a stand.
And I'm feeling good.
Start a new day with Trelegy. No once-daily COPD medicine has the power to treat COPD in as many ways as Trelegy. With 3 medicines in 1 inhaler, Trelegy makes breathing easier for a full 24 hours, improves lung function, and helps prevent future flare-ups. Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trelegy more than prescribed. Trelegy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur. Take a stand and start a new day with Trelegy. Ask your doctor about once daily Trelegy and save at Trelegy.com.
This week on Today,
Andy Cohen live with a new Real Housewives sneak peek. Hoda's backstage with Shania Twain for a big surprise. Plus, Love Your Mornings with Allie Love. And Brad Paisley performs live. All this week only on Today.
Heavy wind damage is a given in a storm of this size. Man, it's great to see that.
So much work to be done here still.
Welcome back. We're going to head to Lithuania now, where NATO leaders are meeting for a key summit that could reshape, really, the alliance and change the course of the war in Ukraine. The summit kicked off on a positive note, with Turkey agreeing to support Sweden's bid to join NATO after a year of opposition.
Now, just minutes ago, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky touched down in Vilnius after much speculation as to whether he'd even attend that summit. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Albert joins us now from Lithuania. Monica, Ukraine is seeking stronger security guarantees from NATO, this even as President Biden sort of ruled out a pathway to membership while the war is going on. So what are they asking at this point from NATO? Where do things stand sort of with Ukraine's more formal bid, if you will?
Yeah, good to be with you, Morgan and Savannah. That's right. And it was President Biden over the weekend who said he didn't feel that Ukraine was ready yet to apply for that membership in NATO. And now we are learning from this joint communique that just came from the world leaders that they will extend that invitation, they say, once they feel all the allies can agree on the terms and once conditions are met. And you're right that the ongoing war that is raging is one of those key complications to figuring out how the country would be able to join the alliance. But we did hear a little bit more about what NATO would like to do, ideally, in order to approve Ukraine, when our own Andrea Mitchell was able to sit down with the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg earlier today. Take a listen.
I'm confident that we will make strong and united decisions on Ukraine, both to sustain and step up our support. I'm also confident that on the membership issue, allies will reaffirm that Ukraine will become a member.
Now, President Zelensky wasn't thrilled with some of that language of the last 24 hours or so, saying that the uncertainty can lead to chaos and that he was a little bit disappointed because, of course, he would like to see that invitation extended in the near term. But he is here in Vilnius for this NATO summit, and he will be meeting with President Biden tomorrow. And you can bet this will be at the top of the agenda for discussion, in addition to some of the weaponry and resources that the U.S. is pledging to continue to send to Ukraine with full support.
Absolutely, definitely a lot of conversation about that as well. Monica, before we let you go, I do want to pivot to that reversal from Turkey. Turkish President Erdogan changing his mind about Sweden's membership. What does that mean for the future of NATO? The future of NATO as we watch it expand, just like we've just seen with Finland?
Exactly. And that was really a big question these last couple of days. Even top officials in the U.S. didn't think that the Sweden approval was going to come this week. So it was huge news last night when we learned that the Turkish president had agreed to continue the final steps, the ratification, in order for Sweden to join the alliance, as you mentioned, just like Finland did officially earlier this year. And the U.S. had said that they wanted to see this happen, but they also weren't really sure, again, about the timeline. But President Biden just met with President Erdogan here in Vilnius. He thanked him for accelerating this. And then, of course, the two will continue to discuss how Turkey got to this point with that reversal. Savannah and Morgan.
Monica Alba from Lithuania for us. Thank you so much.
Well, Savannah, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has reiterated that NATO is more united than ever during this high-stakes summit in Lithuania. Here's a bit of his conversation just this morning with Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie.
The president is set to meet with President Zelensky of Ukraine tomorrow. As you know, the president has said no NATO membership for Ukraine while this war is going on. Zelensky has said he wants a clear signal from NATO that the president is the decision maker here, and he wants an invitation to join NATO. Will he get it from the president?
Well, Savannah, first, I think what you've seen just overall is an alliance that's stronger. It's bigger now with the Turks moving forward on Sweden's admission to the alliance after Finland got in. It's more united than ever before. And it's also united when it comes to support for Ukraine. I think what you're going to see happen over the next couple of days is a clear demonstration of the progress that Ukraine has made toward eventual membership. That's going to be reflected in what comes out of the summit, as well as work that still needs to be done. And I think everyone's been clear, including President Zelensky, that in the midst of a war, membership can't happen, but they've made real progress, and the alliance will lay out the further reforms, both in terms of their security work and their democracy, that are necessary to keep moving down that path.
One question. If the alliance's position is no NATO membership until the war ends, does that not just incentivize Russia to keep it going and going and going, since the very thing it fears is that Ukraine will be welcomed by NATO?
Well, I think what it claims it fears is a stronger, bigger, and more united alliance, and that's exactly what we've already seen with 2 new members joining the alliance strengthening its positions across its eastern flank in defense against the possibility of Russian aggression, and united in its support for Ukraine. One of the things that will come out of this summit is not only what we're doing right now for Ukraine, but what the alliance plans to do and what countries individually plan to do to help Ukraine build up over time its deterrence and defense capacity. That tells President Putin that he can't outlast us. He can't outlast Ukraine. He can't outlast all of the countries that are supporting Ukraine, and it would be in his interest to bring this aggression to an end as soon as possible.
Later this hour, how the PGA Tour is defending its controversial deal with Saudi-backed Live Golf. Before the Senate, you're watching NBC News Daily.
Imagine if you could get ahead of your IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and begin to find yourself a little further away from the symptoms that keep coming back. Say yes to Linzess. Linzess is not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. These aren't all the side effects. Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn how AbbVie and Ironwood could help you save on Linzess.
Cool nights start with Ashley this summer, with Tempur-Pedic mattresses starting at $37 per month. Beautyrest Black starting at $45 per month, and Purple starting at $39 per month. Plus pay 0% interest for 60 months, in-store only. Only at Ashley.
Want to leave works all day so I can keep working my magic. Just want to leave. 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief. Aleve, who do you take it for?
Trying to control my asthma felt anything but normal. Enough was enough. I talked to an asthma specialist and found out my severe asthma is driven by eosinophils, a type of asthma Nucala can help control. Now, fewer asthma attacks and less oral steroids. That's my new normal with Nucala.
Nucala is a once-monthly add-on injection for severe eosinophilic asthma. Nucala is not for sudden breathing problems, allergic reaction.
I talked to an asthma specialist and found out my severe asthma is driven by eosinophils, a type of asthma Nucala can help control. Now, fewer asthma attacks and less oral steroids. That's my new normal with Nucala.
Nucala is a once-monthly add-on injection for severe eosinophilic asthma. Nucala is not for sudden breathing problems, allergic reaction. Severe eosinophilic asthma. Nucala is not for sudden breathing problems, allergic.
A type of asthma Nucala can help control. Now, fewer asthma attacks and less oral steroids. That's my new normal with Nucala.
Nucala is a once-monthly add-on injection for severe eosinophilic asthma. Nucala is not for sudden breathing problems, allergic reactions can occur. Get help right away.